Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Hello. Thank you for joining me here on Secretary of Shade. If you are just tuning in, my name is DDM. For those of you who already know me, hi. We're back again this week to discuss the happenings or not happenings in politics and pop culture. Now, if you're just joining the page, make sure you hit that bell and that subscribe button, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. I also want to shout out the good folks at Care for sponsoring the show, our set, and also T helping me get out our mugs. Shout out to all of you who purchased your mugs. We actually got a lot of feedback in regards to people wanting to purchase mugs who didn't make the last campaign. So we're going to be bringing the mugs back. We may do a different design for that collection, but that'll be coming soon. Also, too, we have the email address for the Q&A segment that we're going to be launching pretty soon, probably after WrestleMania, because, I have a lot going on. But we have a lot to discuss today, as we always do. Now, one thing I want to kick off is, this is breaking news. This just happened today. Actually, a couple of our stories are breaking news. Fani Willis, the never-ending saga. I thought we were in the clear. We all thought we were in the clear after it was, decided that her relationship with her deputy attorney was not a conflict of interest. Her deputy attorney, Nathan Wade. We thought we were in the clear. We thought, okay, yes, the trial was sensational. Yes, there was a lot going on, but we're in the clear. Well, evidently, we're not. So today, and this is coming from the Associated Press, the judge overseeing the Georgia 2020 election interference case cleared the way Wednesday, today, for Donald Trump and other defendants to appeal a prosecution. Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee's ruling means defense attorneys can ask the Georgia Court of Appeals to review the judge's decision not to disqualify Willis or dismiss the indictment over her romantic relationship. The judge said he would continue working to get the case ready for trial by addressing other matters in the meantime. But while Willis had made clear her determination to turn the page from weeks of embarrassing headlines, the judge's decision to greenlight the appeal allows defense attorneys to keep at the forefront allegations of impropriety that threaten to damage the public's perception of the prosecution. McAfee last week said Willis can remain on the most sprawling of 4 criminal cases against the former president as long as Wade resigns, which he did on Friday. Now, Willis's romantic relationship with Wade has ruled the case for weeks, overshadowing the allegations charging Trump. This is important. This is the important shit, not the other shit. Charging Trump and 18 others with trying to illegally overturn his narrow loss to Democrat Joe Biden in 2020 in Georgia in a desperate bid to remain in power. Among the acts listed in the indictment was a January 2nd, 2021 phone call in which Trump urged fellow Republican Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to help him find the 11,780 votes needed to beat Biden. Remember on Good Times when, I don't know if y'all saw that episode, sidebar, when Florida, JJ said, oh my, I just found this. And he was like, well, make sure you go find it back. But anyway, nevertheless, I think this is interesting, but I'm not surprised. I think this further just drags things out. And what this does to me, this is just my personal opinion, is it further validates that in some twisted universe, I feel like we're in an alternate universe where what Trump did is okay, or like what she did was just so bad that it deters how the case can be done. It's just strange to me. I find we're in this weird space in this country, and I get you want to make things fair, but this is such a distraction from the actual issue that is being tried, that's going to trial. Now, the man done quit. He not on the case no more. The trial hasn't even started, okay? So he's not on the case. I could even give you the benefit of the doubt or see if he was still on the case or this explosion happened in the middle of the case. In the middle of the trial. The trial hasn't even started yet. So I'm just trying to figure out why this is such a thing still. And then for a campaign that is bleeding money, you're spending more money on lawyers. You want Fani to go away. And I know why you want Fani to go away, because she got your ass. That's why you wanted to go away. She got his ass. And I think after seeing how she handled that trial, some people would say that her hearing, some people would say it was a spectacle. And some people would say she killed it. I'm in the group of people that think she did a fantastic job. But it's just nonsense to me. And this is the headline. The headline is, oh, he gets to appeal now, which further escapes the reason why is Fani Willis even involved in the first place in this? Oh, that's because you tried to steal an election and get people to commit voter fraud and election fraud. That's why we're here. So I think it's interesting. It's going to be, I'm going to see how this plays out. Let's let it play out. But the reality is he's going to trial. They can do all of these appeals and things like that. You know what's crazy to me? And then we're going to move on. But what's crazy to me is that with all of this going on, you have people still riding. Like, I would not, even if I believed some of Donald Trump's conspiracy theories, the mere fact that he's always in mess would just be like, you know what, I'm good. I would just be like, I'm good. Just because of the mere fact that you're always in mess. It's just always something with you and things surrounding you. Okay? It's just a lot. But sound off in the comments. Tell me what you think. We'll keep an eye on this and see how it develops. Now, another court ruling rather, that happened today, in regards to Texas. Now, Texas has this bill, this law that they are pushing, the SB4, where basically if you cross the Texas border from Mexico illegally, they can arrest and detain you. Okay? I'm going to read, this is coming from Politico. I'm going to read what transpired, and then I'm going to tell you what I think. But I think this is all interesting. So, a new Texas law allowing police to arrest migrants is back on hold. The U.S. Supreme Court denied the Biden administration's request to block SB4, but an appeals court later restored an injunction against the measure. The Supreme Court on Tuesday shout out to my shirt. The Supreme Court on Tuesday gave Texas the go-ahead to enforce a new state law authorizing police to arrest and detain people for illegally crossing the border from Mexico. But hours later, a federal appeals court reinstated an injunction blocking the law from being implemented. The Texas law was supposed to go into effect March 5th, but was paused by the high court for 2 weeks while the justices considered emergency requests from the Biden administration and immigrant rights groups to keep the statute on ice while legal challenges proceed, arguing that the measure intrudes on federal authority over immigration. On Tuesday afternoon, the Supreme Court, over the dissent of 3 liberal justices, turned down a request to put the law on hold. However, late Tuesday night, a panel of the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals voted 2-1 to restore the preliminary injunction a district court judge granted preventing Texas officials from enforcing the statute. Both actions came just hours before the appeals court is scheduled to hear arguments on the issue by video conference Wednesday morning. Chief Justice Priscilla Richmond, an appointee of President George W. Bush, and Judge Irma Ramirez, who was nominated by President Joe Biden, joined in the order Tuesday night, restoring the earlier injunction against the law. So this was a bipartisan, this appeals court, this was a bipartisan vote to reinstate a hold on the law, which was refreshing, because how often do we get bipartisan shit? Richmond and Ramirez did not explain their reasoning. Judge Andrew Oldham, an appointee of President Donald Trump, dissented. Of course he did. Oldham argued that preserving the status quo in the case called for allowing the law to go into effect because the injunction had the effect of altering the normal legislative process. Neither court's action amounted to a definitive ruling on the law's constitutionality. It's possible the law could be restored, as Texas officials are seeking by as soon as today or later today. The issue also appears likely to return to the Supreme Court fairly soon. So, here's the thing. We are seeing on a lot of news outlets, in the press and paper, a growing surge of immigration from Mexico. And not just Mexican people, but, there are actually people from China who are coming over to Mexico and coming through Mexico to cross the border into the United States. I am very much of the belief that people should have the right or be able to come into the United States, but they should be coming legally. And I know that's not necessarily a popular opinion, but it's my opinion. My black ass can't just go to the UK and say, hey, y'all, I'm here. I can't even cross into Canada and just say, hey, I'm tired. I need a vacation. Or America's going to shit. Let me just come over here. You can't do that. In a lot of other countries, whether they're first world, third world, whatever, you can't just look at what's happening in Gaza with them trying to pass over to Egypt. And those people are running from bombings and legit shit. Not saying that what's happening in Mexico is not legit, but they're in a do or die situation over there. And Egypt is like, hold dice. So I'm trying to figure out how you can just in that regard, I have to agree with the state of Texas, and I don't agree with them on virtually anything. But in this case, it's very simple. Come, claim asylum. Yes, it may be a backlog. It may be backed up. I get that. But you just being able to cross over and nothing happens. You don't even get locked up. You don't even get detained. It's just like, let's process you and keep it going. That's not it. That's not the tea at all. It's not the coffee. It's none of it. So in this case, this is another case, this just happened today, came down today, where we got to see it play out. We got to see what happens here. But in this one time, and you might want to screen grab this because it's probably never going to happen again. I actually side with the state of Texas on this. Sound off in the comments and tell me what you think. Moving on. Now, another issue, and it could affect immigration and surge of migrants, but it's happening in another place, in Haiti. So, if you've been under a rock, or not even if you haven't been under a rock, because it's been in the news cycle, but not at the extent of some other things. Haiti is they up in flames, sis. It's giving issues down. Okay, so Haiti is being overrun by gangs. They taking over the government. It's a whole thing. Okay, Haiti's gangs. Okay, so in Haiti, Haitian armed groups have dominated. This is coming from Al Jazeera. Haitian armed groups have dominated global headlines in recent weeks as gunmen attack police stations, prisons, and other institutions in the capital of Port-au-Prince, effectively paralyzing the city. But the power of these gangs has long rocked daily life and politics in Haiti, plunging the country into a years-long crisis. The latest example came this week as Prime Minister Ariel Henry announced he would resign his post once a transitional presidential council is established and a successor chosen. His announcement came amid pressure from both the international community and gang leaders who warned that the Caribbean nation could face civil war if Henry, an unelected official, did not step down. They have also promised to oppose any outside intervention in Haiti's affairs. That includes an effort backed by the United States to send a multinational armed force led by Kenya to Haiti to help the national police respond to the widespread violence and unrest. Now, these armed gangs. Now, first of all, I'm trying to figure out how you sitting in a presidential seat and you were not elected, like, they just doing whatever. Like, very much like the rest of the world, okay? There are believed to be about 200 armed gangs, 200, not 200 people, 200 armed gangs operating in Haiti, about half of which have a presence in Port-au-Prince. In the capital, there are two major gang coalitions. The first is the G9 family, and Allies Alliance, or simply G9, is led by Jimmy Barbecue Cherizier, a former Haitian police officer who is under UN and United States sanctions for his involvements in Haiti's violence. So they got a former police officer leading one of these gangs, which means there's going to be a certain level of organization and sophistication that you wouldn't get from some ragtag group of people. The second is GPEP, which is led by Gabriel Jean-Pierre, also known as T. Gabriel. He was the leader of a gang called Nan Brooklyn before the creation of GPEP, which has been based in Port-au-Prince's impoverished Sainte-Soleil district. G9 and GPEP have been rivals for years, battling for control of neighborhoods in Port-au-Prince. Both groups have been accused of mass killings and sexual violence in areas under their authority, as well as in districts they want to take over. But Cherizier has said that the two groups reached a pact late last year dubbed Vive Ensemble, or Live Together in Haitian Creole, to cooperate and oust Henry, the Prime Minister. We are not sure how much this dynamic will last, said Mariano de Alba, senior advisor at the International Crisis Group, but they formed a joint alliance in September, basically trying to respond to the possibility that a multinational security mission was going to be deployed to Haiti, and they wanted to prevent that. So basically, the gangs, the Haitian president, and we spoke on this like meetings, like when it happened, the actual Haitian president got assassinated. This new guy is sitting in the seat who nobody elected, who ain't even really supposed to be there. Haiti has a lot of gang violence, but what it sounds like to me looking at this, reading this, is that the gangs are like, wait a minute, multinational coalition force, no. We don't want to deal with that. We're going to go ahead and click up. And if you try to come here and pull some shit, we off and all y'all. That's what it's giving. That is indeed what it's giving to me. Now, to you, that may sound a little different. But it's giving the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Okay? Now, the gang violence has been going on in Haiti for a while, okay? And people are asking, well, how did this happen? How did your government and police just get overrun? So here's what happened, sis. They have better weapons than before and have reached a new level of sophistication in their attacks. Remember, they have a former police officer leading one of these gangs. For example, drones were reportedly used when gunmen stormed 2 Port-au-Prince prisons in early March, part of the latest round of violence. Faxon also explained that the armed groups were, until fairly recently, beholden to politicians, political parties, and businessmen. Those individuals could control them, but that's no longer the case. So these gangs was working with politicians. That shit's out the window now. They are a force unto themselves. That means they can essentially dictate to certain politicians, or to many politicians, as it were, what they ought to do or what they can do. They've been able to amass much more money independently of politicians and businessmen. That includes through extortion, as well as kidnappings for ransom, drug trafficking, and the smuggling of small weapons. The groups are not just criminal in nature, they also have a political aspect. They gain their income through illicit activities, and they are willing to use arms for political purposes. This is busy. This is very busy. Now, you know what that means, right? All this is going on in Haiti. If you're just a regular citizen, do you want to stay there? So that means you're going to leave. Haiti ain't too far from Florida. So now, Florida has deployed troops to halt potential migrant surge. So now you have Florida getting troops ready to stop any migrants that's coming through from Haiti due to the conflict that's going on there. We already know what Florida gave. Florida's not playing. And as we've seen throughout history, not to be that person, but you know what they do with the Haitian immigrants. They probably not even going to make it to the border. Their ass is going to get turned around in the border. They're not playing with them. But this highlights another potential migrant crisis. And I say this with love. We can't house everybody. We're not even housing the people who are born and raised here. We have such a homeless epidemic on the West Coast and in other sections of this country. Those people aren't even being assisted. When you go to San Francisco, California, well, California, San Francisco isn't California, but y'all know what I mean. When I go to the West Coast, I am appalled and shocked at the level of homelessness that is publicly visible. And there's not enough being done about that. So I understand fleeing danger, and I think that they should be given the opportunity. But some of these other countries, maybe y'all can step up and, take in migrants and things like that. But everybody can't come to the, what are we going to do? And then, they send in all our tax money to these places. Well, not all, but a good portion. But you and me, we're going to get audited if we don't report that cup of coffee from Starbucks. Or that extra, money we got for that gig that we work part-time because we got to work 3 jobs to make ends meet. I understand. I get it. But something has to be done. Something has to be done. We'll see how this pans out. Sound off in the comments. Y'all know how we do. And we'll see where it goes from there. It's just a lot going on. Vladimir Putin held a sham election. Okay, and we reported like it was a real election. They were making people vote at gunpoint at polling stations in Russia and in those regions. It's just crazy right now. And I'm gonna tell you, this is why I do the show once a week, and sometimes I have to take breaks because this stuff, and I don't know about you, you sound off in the comments, tell me what you think. It's anxiety inducing. I have to limit my news content, how I receive it. I used to watch news all day, every day. I had to stop. Now I read the paper. I read my articles online. I'll check in on television and media to see what the perspective being given is. But this stuff is anxiety inducing. But at the same time, what do? Because we have to stay informed, right? That's what me and you do with each other. We inform each other. So we're going to get through this trying time together. We have elections to cover. We have campaigns to cover this summer, going into the fall. So we're in this together, and I want you all to know that. Make sure you're following the channel. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Subscribe, share. If you want to contribute to the channel, make sure that you do that. You can do that Cash App, Venmo, at Dapper Dan Midas. And we'll continue to work through this together. But, child, this is a mess. It's very busy. But that's our show for this week. I hope everyone has a great week. I was just actually in New York last week, and I had to host a party at Parkside Lounge Friday night. Shout out to everybody at the Half Crew. And I'll be at WrestleMania in 2 weeks till WrestleMania. So I can't wait to see that. Also, too, if you're not following Black Wrestling Podcast, that's Black, BLACK, space Wrestling, RASSLIN. I am a contributor now. He's getting bugs. I'm a contributor to the Black Wrestling Podcast every Thursday at 8:30. They come on, and we just have a lively debate and discussion about what's going on in sports, entertainment, and wrestling, if you're into that kind of thing. But as always, y'all have a great weekend, great evening, and I will see you next week. Peace and love.